What would you do if your child vanished without a trace? What would you feel when 15 years pass by and every sunrise brings the same haunting question? Where is my son? Tonight, we're diving into a story that will challenge everything you believe about faith, hope, and the mysterious ways life unfolds. This isn't just another missing person case. This is about a mother who never stopped believing, a community that held on to prayer, and a return so extraordinary that it defies explanation. Sarah Mitchell was living what seemed like an ordinary Tuesday morning in March 2008. Her 14-year-old son, David, kissed her goodbye before school, grabbed his backpack, and walked out the front door. That was the last time she would see him for 15 years. No goodbye, no warning. Just an empty bedroom and a mother's world turned upside down. The police launched an immediate investigation, but David seemed to have vanished into thin air. No witnesses, no surveillance footage, no trace of where he might have gone. Sarah's faith was about to be tested in ways she never imagined. The first year was the hardest. Sarah spent countless nights walking the streets, posting flyers on every corner, calling David's name into the darkness. She organized search parties, contacted every missing person organization, and never missed a single prayer meeting at her local church. The community rallied around her with an intensity that was both beautiful and heartbreaking. But as months turned into years, some people began to whisper that maybe it was time to let go. Maybe it was time to accept the unthinkable. Sarah's response was always the same. My faith tells me he's alive, and I will never stop believing. By year 5, the case had gone cold. Detective Rodriguez, who had worked David's case from day one, admitted that they had exhausted every lead. The media attention had faded, the search parties had dwindled, and even some of Sarah's closest friends struggled to understand her unwavering hope. But Sarah's faith never wavered. Every Sunday she would stand in front of her congregation and ask for continued prayers for David's safe return. She kept his room exactly as he left it, celebrated his birthday every year, and maintained a ritual that some called obsessive, others called miraculous. What happened next challenges everything we think we know about missing person cases. Sarah began having dreams. Not ordinary dreams, but vivid, detailed visions of David in different places. Always safe, always growing older. She dreamed of him working on a farm, then in a small-town diner, then studying in what looked like a library. These weren't random dreams, they felt like messages. Sarah started keeping a dream journal, documenting every detail. Her pastor, initially skeptical, became intrigued when Sarah's dreams began showing consistent details about places that seemed real, specific, almost like coordinates to David's location. The turning point came in year 10, when Sarah's dreams became more frequent and more specific. She began seeing street signs, building names, even license plates. She felt compelled to travel to a small town in Montana, 3 states away from their home. Against everyone's advice, Sarah packed her car and drove 1,200 miles based on nothing but faith and these mysterious dreams. What she found in that small town sent shockwaves through her entire understanding of what was possible. She found people who remembered a young man matching David's description, working odd jobs, quiet but kind, who had lived there for several years before moving on. Years 11 through 14 were marked by similar journeys. Sarah would have a series of dreams, travel to seemingly random locations, and discover traces of David's presence. It was as if she was following a spiritual breadcrumb trail across the country. Each discovery strengthened her faith and baffled everyone around her. 2. The local news picked up the story, calling it the mother who dreams her son's journey. Skeptics dismissed it as coincidence or delusion, but the evidence was becoming harder to ignore. Sarah was somehow tracking her missing son across America through dreams and prayer. Then came March 15, 2023. Exactly 15 years after David's disappearance. Sarah was at her usual morning prayer when she received a phone call that would change everything. The voice on the other end was older, deeper, but unmistakably familiar. "Mum," David said, "I'm ready to come home." He was calling from a payphone outside a church in Oregon, 800 miles away. He had no cell phone, no identification, but he had kept one thing with him for 15 years, a small photo of his family, and a prayer card his mother had given him as a child. The reunion was captured by local news crews, who had been following Sarah's story for years. 29-year-old David walked into his mother's arms, and 15 years of questions seemed to dissolve into pure gratitude. But the mystery was far from over. David's story of where he had been and why he left would challenge everything the family thought they knew. He spoke of feeling called to a different path, of traveling the country, working with different communities, and most surprisingly, of dreams where he could somehow sense his mother's love and prayers following him wherever he went. The psychiatric evaluation that followed revealed something extraordinary. David showed no signs of mental illness, no evidence of trauma or coercion. He had simply felt compelled to leave home at 14 and spend 15 years on what he called a spiritual journey. More remarkably, the places David described, living and working, matched perfectly with Sarah's dream journal. The farm in Nebraska, the diner in Colorado, the library in New Mexico. Every location Sarah had seen in her dreams was a place David had actually been. The connection between mother and son had somehow transcended physical distance and conventional understanding. This story raises questions that science struggles to answer and faith embraces with wonder. How do we explain the connection between Sarah's dreams and David's actual journey? Was this divine intervention, mother's intuition taken to an extraordinary level, or something else entirely? David himself offers the most compelling perspective. He says he always felt his mother's love and prayers surrounding him, guiding him, keeping him safe. He never felt lost because he could always feel the spiritual connection to his family, even when he was 2,000 miles away. Today, Sarah and David are rebuilding their relationship, processing 15 years of separation, and sharing their story with others who have missing loved ones. Sarah has become a beacon of hope for families facing similar situations, always with the same message: never stop believing, never stop praying, and trust that love has a power beyond our understanding. Their story reminds us that faith isn't about having all the answers, it's about holding on to hope even when hope seems impossible. What can we learn from Sarah's 15-year journey of faith? Sometimes, the most profound stories aren't about getting the answers we want, but about discovering that love and faith can transcend time, distance, and human understanding. Sarah's unwavering belief brought her son home, but more than that, it showed an entire community what's possible when we refuse to give up on the people we love. If you have someone missing from your life, if you're struggling to maintain hope in an impossible situation, remember Sarah's story. Remember that miracles often come disguised as ordinary moments, and that sometimes the longest journeys home begin with a single prayer. What do you think about this incredible story? Have you ever experienced a connection with someone that seemed to transcend physical distance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories that challenge what we think we know about faith, hope, and the mysterious ways love works in our world. Hit that like button if this story touched your heart. And remember, sometimes the most impossible stories are the most true.